The black SUV crawled past my house for the third time that morning, but I was too focused on my empty driveway to care. My car, my beautiful silver Mazda that I'd spent 3 years paying off, was gone. In its place was nothing but oil stains and gravel, mocking me with memories of what should have been there. I'm Georgia, and this was the moment my life started unraveling like a cheap sweater. "Mom!" I shouted, bursting through the front door. The house smelled like coffee and guilt. "Where's my car?" My mother sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. "Honey, I can explain." "Explain what? That my car magically disappeared overnight?" My voice cracked. I'd just gotten back from a 3-day environmental research trip, exhausted and dreaming of a hot shower, only to find this nightmare instead. "I had to sell it," she whispered, not meeting my eyes. "Kyson? He was in trouble." Of course, it always came back to my brother. What kind of trouble? "He owed some people money. They were threatening him, Georgia. What was I supposed to do? Call the police? Tell him to face consequences for once in his life?" I grabbed the edge of the counter to steady myself. "How much?" 20,000. The room spun. 20,000? Mom, that car was worth twice that. Who did you sell it to? "A dealer. He gave cash, no questions asked." She finally looked up, tears in her eyes. "Your brother would have been hurt." "So you stole from me instead?" The words tasted like battery acid. "Where is he?" "I don't know. He hasn't been home in days." My phone was in my hand before I could think. 3 rings, then Kyson's voicemail. "You better call me back," I hissed. "Or I swear to God I'm going straight to the police." That black SUV rolled by again, slower this time. Through the tinted windows, I caught a glimpse of someone watching our house. "You can't go to the police," Mom pleaded, grabbing my arm. "These people, they're dangerous." I yanked away from her. "More dangerous than stealing my car? More dangerous than enabling Kyson's gambling?" "It's not gambling. It's—" She caught herself, but too late. "It's what, Mom? What aren't you telling me?" The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. Outside, a car door slammed. "Georgia," Mom's voice dropped to barely a whisper, "please just let it go, for all our sakes." Someone knocked at the front door. 3 sharp raps that made Mom flinch. "I'm calling the police," I said, pulling out my phone again. "No!" Mom lunged for my phone, but I held it out of reach. "You don't understand what you're doing." "I understand perfectly. My brother's gotten himself into something illegal, and you're helping him destroy this family. Again." The knocking came harder this time. Mom backed away from the door, shaking her head. "Mrs. Simmons?" a male voice called out. "We need to discuss the payment schedule." I moved toward the door, but Mom grabbed my shirt. "Please," she begged, "don't answer it." Looking at her terrified face, something clicked. This wasn't just about Kyson's gambling. This was bigger, darker, and my car was just the beginning. I pulled out my phone and started recording, keeping it hidden behind my back. "Coming!" I called out, ignoring Mom's desperate attempts to stop me. When I opened the door, 2 men in expensive suits stood there. The black SUV idled behind them. "Can I help you?" I asked, voice steady despite my racing heart. The taller man smiled, all teeth and no warmth. "We're looking for Kyson. Is he home?" "No, but I'd love to talk about my car that was sold to cover his debts." The man's smile didn't waver. "I'm afraid that's a private family matter." "So, is this conversation?" I replied, "which I'm recording for the police." Their faces hardened instantly. The shorter man took a step forward, but his partner grabbed his arm. "We'll be in touch," the tall one said, turning away. "Tell Kyson he has 3 days." I watched them drive away, my hand shaking as I stopped the recording. Behind me, Mom had collapsed into a chair, sobbing. "I'm filing a police report," I said, my voice ice cold. "And this time, you're not stopping me." "They'll kill him," she whispered. "Then he better start talking fast." I grabbed my jacket and keys. To the house, since my car keys were gone along with my car. Because whatever he's involved in, it ends now. As I walked to the bus stop, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stay out of it, sister. Some debts can only be paid in blood." I took a screenshot and kept walking. They thought they could scare me into silence? They clearly didn't know what happened when someone messed with my family, even if that someone was family themselves. Detective Sergio's office smelled like stale coffee and printer ink. He studied the recording on my phone, replaying it for the third time while I fidgeted in the hard plastic chair. "These aren't your typical loan sharks," he said finally, sliding the phone back to me. "The way they operate, the suits, the careful language, this is organized. I don't care what they are. I want my car back. Your car's probably already been chopped and sold for parts." He leaned forward. "But that's not what really concerns me. Your brother's gotten himself mixed up with some dangerous people." I pulled out Kyson's laptop, the one I'd grabbed from his room while Mom was in the shower. Maybe this will help. It was hidden under his mattress. Sergio's eyebrows shot up as he opened it. The screen flickered to life, revealing a login page. Any idea what his password might be? A memory flashed. Kyson and me, kids again, building a fort in the backyard. Our secret hideout where we'd share everything. Try Fortnite 1995. The screen unlocked. "How'd you know?" He was always sentimental about stupid things. I swallowed hard, remembering how close we used to be. "Check his emails." Sergio clicked through folders, his frown deepening. "These messages, they're encoded. Look at this pattern." The emails seemed normal at first glance. Discussions about fantasy football, movie reviews, casual chat. But there was something off about them. "Wait," I said, pointing at the screen. "These movie ratings, they're all numbers between 1 and 10, but they're for movies that don't exist." "Good catch." Sergio grabbed a notepad. "Could be a simple substitution cipher, each number representing something else." My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Laptop was insurance. "Bad move, sister." "They know," I whispered, showing Sergio the message. He immediately closed the laptop. "You need protection. These people, I need answers." I stood up, pacing the small office. Kyson's never been perfect, but he's not a criminal. Someone's got leverage on him, and I bet it has something to do with Mom. "What makes you say that?" "The way she's acting. She's terrified, but not just for Kyson. It's like she's afraid of something else." I stopped pacing. "I need to talk to him." "Georgia, these people are watching you. If you—" My phone rang. Kyson's name flashed on the screen. Sergio nodded, hitting record on his desk device. "Where are you?" I demanded. "Sis, I'm sorry." His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. "I never meant for any of this to happen." "Then fix it. Come in and talk to the police." "I can't. They've got Mom." My blood turned to ice. "What do you mean they've got Mom? I just saw her this morning." "Check the house. She won't be there." He took a shaky breath. "They knew you took the laptop. This is my fault. All of it." "Kyson, what did you do?" "It started as gambling, I swear. Just cards, normal stuff. But then they showed me the photos of Mom meeting with their boss last year. Said they'd expose everything if I didn't help them." "Help them with what?" "Moving money, lots of it, through accounts I set up at work." He paused. The gambling debts were just a cover story. Sergio was already on his phone, dispatching units to our house. "Where are you?" I asked again, softer this time. "Somewhere safe, for now." His voice cracked. "But they want the laptop back, or they'll hurt her." "I'm so sorry, Georgia. I thought I was protecting her, but I just made everything worse." "We can help you," I said, looking at Sergio, who nodded encouragingly. "Both of you. Just tell me where to meet." "No, don't you get it? This goes deeper than you know. Mom's not just a victim. She was involved before I was. The photos prove it." Static crackled on the line. Someone spoke in the background. "I have to go," Kyson said quickly. "Don't trust anyone, even the cops. Some of them are—" The line went dead. Sergio was already moving. "We'll trace the call. Your house is being checked now." My phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo. Mom, sitting in what looked like a warehouse office, holding today's newspaper. She looked unharmed but terrified. "They're playing us," I said, showing Sergio the photo. Using Mom to control Kaisen. Using Kaisen to control me. The question is why? What's on this laptop that's so important? I stared at the screen, at the encoded emails. Whatever it is, we have 12 hours to figure it out. Look at the newspaper in the photo. It's the morning edition. They're sending a message. You should go somewhere safe, Sergio said. Let us handle this. I thought of Kaisen's warning about the police, about Mom's involvement being deeper than we knew, about the black SUV that kept watching our house. No, I said, pulling the laptop closer. I'm staying. Those emails are the key to everything. I met Sergio's concerned gaze. And right now, I don't know who to trust except myself. The numbers swam before my eyes as I scribbled another failed attempt at cracking the code. 6 hours had passed in Sergio's office, and we were getting nowhere. Take a break, Sergio said, returning with fresh coffee. You're going to burn out. I can't. I rubbed my temples. Mom's out there somewhere and... My phone lit up. Another message. Getting warmer, but time's running out. They're watching us, I said, showing Sergio. Somehow, they know what we're doing. He immediately pulled the blinds shut. There must be a leak in the department. I stared at the laptop screen, at those endless emails about fake movies. Something clicked. Wait, these aren't movie ratings. I grabbed a fresh piece of paper. Their coordinates, latitude and longitude, split across multiple messages. Sergio leaned over my shoulder as I mapped out the numbers. Storage facilities, he said, all across the state. Money laundering, I whispered. That's what Kaisen meant about moving money. A sharp knock made us both jump. Marissa, my best friend from college, stood in the doorway. Your neighbor called me, she said. Said there were police at your house. Why didn't you tell me what was happening? Because I didn't want to drag anyone else into this mess. I hesitated, then made a decision. But since you're here, you're good with patterns, right? Take a look at this. As Marissa studied the emails, her eyes widened. These aren't just coordinates. Look at the timestamps. They're routing instructions. Someone's moving something through these locations in a specific order. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call from another unknown number. Put it on speaker, Sergio said, recording device ready. Hello? Smart girl, a distorted voice said. But do you understand what you're really looking at? Where's my mother? Safe for now, but we need that laptop back. You have 6 hours left. Let me talk to her. A pause, then Mom's voice. Georgia, baby, I'm so sorry. I never meant... That's enough, the voice cut in. Bring the laptop to the storage facility on 5th and Main. Come alone, or Mommy Dearest takes a swim in the harbor. The line went dead. It's a trap, Sergio said immediately. Obviously. I stood up, pacing. But what choice do we have? We could set up a sting operation, get tactical teams in place. No. I remembered Kaisen's warning about corrupt cops. They'll know. They always know. Marissa, who'd been quiet, suddenly gasped. These aren't just storage facilities. Look at the company names. They're all owned by shell corporations linking back to one holding company, Meridian Trust. My mother's bank, I said, where she's worked for 15 years. Everything started falling into place. Mom's strange behavior, the photos they were using to blackmail Kaisen, the money movement patterns. My phone rang again. This time, it was Kaisen. Don't trust Sergio, he said without preamble. He's been on their payroll for months. I looked up at the detective, who was watching me with concerned eyes. Was he really part of this? Prove it, I said. Check his left desk drawer. There's a burner phone, same model they gave me for communications. My heart pounding, I walked to Sergio's desk. Mind if I check something? He stepped aside, looking confused. Go ahead. I pulled open the drawer. There, under some papers, was a cheap flip phone. Sergio's face changed instantly. He reached for his gun, but Marissa was faster, throwing her coffee mug at his head. It connected with a crack, and he stumbled. I grabbed the laptop and ran, Marissa right behind me. We could hear Sergio shouting into his radio as we hit the stairs. My car's out back, Marissa said as we burst into the parking lot. Where to? 5th and Main, I said, clutching the laptop. But we're not giving this back. Not until we know everything. As we drove, Kyson's voice came through my phone. There's a program on that laptop. It tracks all their transactions, all their dirty money. Mom found out about it last year. Tried to report it, but they caught her. Been using her as leverage ever since. Why didn't she tell me? To protect you. Same reason I kept quiet. He paused. I'm at the storage facility. Got here an hour ago. They don't know yet. You're crazy. They'll kill you. Maybe, but I'm done running. Done letting them hurt our family. His voice hardened. I'm sending you a file. Everything I know about their operation. If anything happens to me or Mom, make it public. The file appeared on my phone. Documents, photos, transaction records. Kyson, wait. I love you, sis. Sorry I was such a screw-up. He hung up. Marissa glanced at me as we sped through a yellow light. What's the plan? I stared at the laptop, at my phone with its damning evidence, at the approaching storage facility where my brother was about to do something incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. We're going to finish this, I said. All of it. The storage facility loomed ahead, its gates open like a monster's mouth, ready to swallow us whole. Marissa killed the headlights as we pulled into the storage facility. The place was a maze of identical orange doors and concrete walls, security cameras blinking like red eyes in the growing darkness. This is insane, she whispered. We should call the FBI or something. No time. I checked my phone's map. Unit 247, that's where the coordinates point. A figure emerged from the shadows, making us both jump. Kyson, you shouldn't have come, he said, opening my door, but I'm glad you did. Where's Mom? Building C, second floor office, 2 guards outside, 1 with her. He looked worse than he sounded on the phone, bruised eye, split lip. They don't know I'm here yet. What happened to your face? Doesn't matter. Listen, I've got a plan. Headlights swept across the lot, the black SUV. Hide! Kyson shoved us between 2 storage units. Whatever happens, wait for my signal. We pressed ourselves against the cold metal as car doors slammed. Right on time, a man's voice said. Where's your sister? She's coming, Kyson replied. Had to ditch some cops first. The laptop? She'll bring it, but I want to see my mother first. Footsteps moved away. I peered around the corner. 3 men in suits were leading Kyson toward Building C. Now what? Marissa asked. I pulled out my phone, forwarding Kyson's file to every news outlet in my contacts. Now we get ready. For what? Something stupid. I handed her the laptop. Take this to your car. If anything happens, drive straight to Channel 7 News. They're expecting you. Georgia, no. Please. I need someone I can trust on the outside. She hugged me fiercely, then disappeared into the darkness with the laptop. I counted to 30, then followed the path Kyson had taken. Building C loomed ahead, its second-floor windows illuminated. Through the glass, I could see Mom sitting in an office chair, hands bound. A service ladder ran up the building's back wall. My environmental fieldwork was about to pay off in an unexpected way. The metal rungs were cold against my palms as I climbed. Below, I heard Kyson's voice carrying through an open window. All the account numbers, everything you need. I reached the roof, staying low. A skylight offered a perfect view of the office. Mom sat rigid in her chair, while a man in an expensive suit paced behind her. Kyson stood by the door, hands raised. 2 more suits blocked the exit. Where's the laptop? Suit guy demanded. Georgia's bringing it. 10 minutes. You said that 20 minutes ago. He pulled out a gun, pressing it to Mom's head. Maybe we need to motivate her. Wait. Kyson stepped forward. Check your phone. Everyone's phones buzzed simultaneously. Mine too. A news alert. Breaking. Major banking scandal uncovered at Meridian Trust. What did you do? Suit guy grabbed Kyson's collar. Insurance policy. Kyson smiled through bloody teeth. Every news outlet in the state just got proof of your operation. Kill us, and it all goes public. I used their distraction to slip through the skylight, landing silently on a filing cabinet. Mom saw me, but didn't react. You're bluffing, suit guy snarled. Check your stocks, Kyson said. More phones buzzed. Someone cursed. "We're down 12 points already," one suit said. "Sir, we need to contain this." "Contain this," I said, dropping onto suit guy's shoulders. The gun went flying as we crashed to the floor. Kyson tackled the nearest guard. Mom, somehow free of her restraints, slammed her chair into the other one. "Georgia, catch!" Mom threw me a key ring. "Storage unit 247!" I ran, footsteps thundering behind me, downstairs, through corridors, counting numbers until I reached 247. The key worked. I yanked the door up. Inside sat my car. "Get in!" Kyson appeared, shoving me toward the driver's side. Mom jumped in back. "How? Drive!" they shouted together. I floored it, crashing through a wooden gate onto the street. The black SUV roared after us. "They never sold your car," Mom said, ducking as shots rang out. "They kept it as collateral. The laptop was a distraction." "From what?" "From what's in the trunk," Kyson said. 5 years of physical records, account numbers, transactions, names of every dirty cop and banker in their network. I swerved around a corner, tires screaming. "That's why you leaked the story? To keep them from killing us?" "Part of it." He grinned, despite his injuries. "Also wanted to tank their stock before trading opened tomorrow. Cost them millions." "Both of you shut up and call Marissa," Mom ordered. "Tell her to meet us at the police station, the real police." "How do we know who to trust?" I asked, taking another sharp turn. Mom pulled out her phone. "Because I've spent the last year building my own insurance policy. Friends in the FBI, SEC, everyone they couldn't buy. Just needed the evidence to make it stick." The SUV was falling behind as we hit the highway. "Mom?" I glanced in the rearview mirror. "I'm sorry, I thought you were just enabling him." "Honey," she smiled, "where do you think Kyson learned to play the long game?" Red and blue lights appeared ahead, but this time they were on our side. The FBI safe house looked like any other suburban home, complete with tacky garden gnomes and an overgrown lawn. Agent Danielle, who happened to be my boss at the environmental agency, sat across from us in the living room, spreading photos across the coffee table. "You've been undercover this whole time?" I asked, still processing the revelation. 3 years, she nodded. "We knew Meridian Trust was dirty, but couldn't prove it. Your mother changed everything." Mom squeezed my hand. "I noticed the discrepancies in international transfers last year. When I tried reporting it internally, they showed me photos of Kyson gambling at their private club. They'd been grooming me," Kyson said, holding an ice pack to his face. "Getting me in debt, then offering ways to work it off. I thought I was protecting Mom by playing along." "And I thought I was protecting both of you by staying quiet," Mom added. Agent Danielle laid out more photos. "The operation goes deeper than banking. They've been using storage facilities to move more than money." "Drugs?" I asked. "Sometimes, but mainly classified technology, corporate secrets, things worth more than cash." She pointed to a familiar face in one photo. "That's why Sergio was on their payroll. He kept local police away from their storage units." My phone buzzed. Another news alert. "Meridian Trust CEO found dead in apparent suicide." "It's starting," Danielle said grimly. "The rats are jumping ship." "What about the other cops?" Kyson asked. "The ones still out there?" "We're rounding them up now, but some will slip through the cracks." She looked at each of us. "That's why you're here. Until we've contained the situation, you're in protective custody." A knock at the door made everyone tense. An agent entered with Marissa. "Your friend checks out," Danielle said. "She's been helping us decrypt more files from the laptop." Marissa hugged me tight. "You could have told me your boss was FBI." "I didn't know." "Speaking of things we didn't know," Kyson interrupted, "what exactly is in my car's trunk that's so important?" Mom stood up, pacing. "Not just records. There's a hard drive containing every illegal transaction they've made for the past decade. Names, dates, account numbers, everything." "Which makes all of you targets," Danielle added. "The drive is encrypted, but they don't know that. They think you can access it." As if on cue, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Put it on speaker," Danielle ordered, recording equipment ready. "Hello?" I answered. "Quite a show today." The voice was familiar, the same distorted tone from the storage facility. "But this isn't over," Seems pretty over to me. Your CEO just took the coward's way out. He was weak. I'm not. A pause. The drive, Georgia. Bring it to the location I'm texting you, or start planning 3 funerals. You don't get to threaten my family anymore. No? Ask your mother about Project Lighthouse. Ask her what really happened to your father. Mom went pale. You have 1 hour. The line went dead. Mom! I turned to her. What's Project Lighthouse? What did he mean about Dad? She sank into a chair, hands shaking. Your father's car accident 10 years ago. It wasn't an accident. He was an auditor, investigating overseas accounts. He found something. Something about a secret project involving military contracts. They killed him? Kyson's voice cracked. They made it look like drunk driving. I couldn't prove anything. She looked up, eyes hard. That's why I stayed at Meridian, gathering evidence, waiting for a chance to bring them down. The drive, Danielle said urgently. Where is it? Safe, Mom replied. But they're right. This isn't over. The CEO was just a figurehead. The real power is someone else, someone who's been watching us all along. My phone buzzed with an address. The lighthouse at Porter's Point. It's a trap, Marissa said. Obviously, I agreed. But it's also our chance to end this. No, Danielle stood. You're staying here. We'll handle it. Like you handled my father's case? Mom challenged. No offense, but we've gotten further in 3 days than the FBI did in 3 years. Because they weren't expecting it from us, Kyson added. We're their blind spot. I looked at the address again. The lighthouse closes to tourists at sunset. That's in 2 hours. You can't seriously be considering this, Marissa protested. But I saw the look in Mom's eyes, saw Kyson straightening despite his injuries. This was our fight. We're going, I said, but we're doing it our way. Danielle studied us for a long moment. You realize you're talking about using yourselves as bait? No, Mom said, pulling out her phone. We're talking about finishing what my husband started. She showed us a photo. Dad at the same lighthouse 10 years ago, the day before he died. Project Lighthouse wasn't just a code name, she said. It was literal. Whatever they're hiding, whatever got my husband killed, it's there. Then let's go get it, I said, grabbing my car keys. Sometimes the only way to escape a trap is to spring it yourself. The lighthouse stood like a bone-white finger against the darkening sky. Waves crashed against the rocky shore below as we parked in the empty lot. Last chance to back out, I said, checking my phone's signal. 1 bar. They killed Dad here, Kyson replied, his face grim. We finish this here. Mom touched the silver locket at her neck, the one containing Dad's photo. Remember the plan. No heroes. We'd left Marissa back at the safe house with Danielle, coordinating with FBI teams. They were positioned out of sight, waiting for our signal. The hard drive was secure in a safety deposit box across town, our insurance policy. The lighthouse door creaked open at our approach. After you, a voice called from inside. Mom squeezed my hand, then stepped through. Kyson and I followed. The interior was dim, lit only by emergency lights. A man in an expensive suit stood at the base of the spiral staircase. Even in the poor light, I recognized him from Mom's old company photos. Marcus, she said coldly. Board chairman himself. I'm honored. Helen? He smiled without warmth. Your husband had that same sarcastic tone, right before his accident. Kyson lunged forward, but I grabbed his arm. The drive, Marcus said. Where is it? Safe, I answered. Like we are, with FBI teams surrounding this place. He laughed. You mean the teams at the South Dock? And the roadblock on Harbor Street? Already taken care of. He pulled out his phone, showing live footage of unconscious agents. Amazing how many people still accept cash bribes. Mom stepped forward. This was never about money laundering, was it? Project Lighthouse. It's something worse. Smart woman. Too smart. He gestured to the stairs. Shall we? The view from the top is spectacular. We climbed in silence, Marcus behind us with his hand in his jacket pocket, obviously holding a gun. 5 stories up, The lighthouse opened into a circular room with windows facing the ocean. 10 years ago, Marcus said, your husband stood in this exact spot. He'd discovered our little side operation, weapons testing, biological agents, things the military wouldn't officially approve. The storage facilities, I realized. They weren't just for money. International buyers pay well for advanced weapons. The banking network just makes it look legitimate. He pulled out his gun, confirming our suspicions. Helen, show them. Mom walked to a section of wall, pressing a hidden panel. A door slid open, revealing a modern elevator. Dad found this, Kyson whispered. Anne died for it, Marcus confirmed. The lighthouse is just a cover. The real facility is below sea level. My phone buzzed, the signal we'd been waiting for. You won't get away with this, I said, playing for time. The evidence is worthless without the encryption key. He smiled again. Which your mother has memorized. Don't you, Helen? Mom's hand went to her locket. I don't know what you're talking about. No. Your husband's last words were about a silver key. Took us years to realize he meant the key was in the silver. He pointed the gun at me. Open the locket, Helen. She unclasped it slowly, hands shaking. Inside, behind Dad's photo, was a tiny microchip. The key, Marcus said softly, all this time right around your neck. Hand it over. Mom, don't. The gun swung toward me. The chip, or I redecorate this lighthouse with your daughter's blood. Mom stepped toward him, locket extended. But as Marcus reached for it, she threw it, not to him, but out the window. No! He rushed to the window. That's when Kyson tackled him. The gun went flying as they crashed into the wall. I dove for the weapon, but Marcus kicked it away, sending it skittering toward the elevator. You idiots! He snarled, throwing Kyson off. That chip was worth millions! It was worth nothing, Mom said, helping Kyson up, just like your security footage of the FBI teams. Marcus went still. What? Did you really think we'd come alone? I smiled. Check your phone again. He pulled it out. The footage was gone, replaced by a text. Signal traced. Move in. Helicopter spotlights suddenly flooded the lighthouse windows. Boots thundered on the stairs below. You played us, Marcus realized. No, Mom said. We played you like you played us for 10 years. That chip? A fake. The real one was delivered to the FBI an hour ago. Along with everything from the hard drive, Kyson added. While you were watching the FBI teams you thought you'd bought, the real raid was happening at all your storage facilities. Marcus lunged for the elevator, but I was closer. I grabbed the gun from the floor and pointed it at him. Don't, I said. Dad deserves better than having more blood spilled here. The door burst open. Real FBI agents swarmed in, led by Danielle. As they cuffed Marcus, Mom hugged us both. Your father would be so proud. Helen, Marcus called as they led him away. There are others, people you don't know about. This isn't over. No, she agreed, taking our hands. But whatever comes next, we face it together. Through the lighthouse windows, red and blue lights reflected off the waves like fireworks. The dark waters that had hidden so many secrets were finally giving them up. Sometimes justice takes a decade. Sometimes it takes a family willing to risk everything. And sometimes it takes both. The FBI's evidence room buzzed with activity as agents cataloged everything seized from the lighthouse facility. Weapons prototypes, biological samples, and enough documents to fill a library, all hidden beneath that innocent white tower. You need to see this, Danielle said, leading us to a computer terminal. We found it in Marcus's private server. The screen showed security footage from 10 years ago. My hand found Mom's as we watched Dad walk into the lighthouse, briefcase in hand. You don't have to watch, Kyson said softly. Yes, we do. The footage showed Dad discovering the hidden elevator, confronting Marcus. There was no audio, but we could see them arguing. Then Dad reached for his phone, probably trying to call for help, and Mom turned away. I couldn't blame her. There's more, Danielle said gently. Earlier footage shows your father meeting with someone else, someone who warned him about Project Lighthouse. She fast-forwarded to a different day. Dad sat in a cafe with a woman I recognized from recent news coverage, the FBI director who'd just announced her sudden retirement. The corruption went all the way to the top, Kyson realized. Goes, a voice corrected. We turned to see Marcus, handcuffed and flanked by guards. Present tense. You really think I'm the only one? You're done talking, Danielle snapped, but he continued. Helen, tell them about the other projects, the ones your husband never found. Mom's face hardened. Whatever game you're playing. Ring, ring, he sang, and every phone in the evidence room started ringing simultaneously. Danielle grabbed her phone. How? The lights went out. Emergency generators kicked in as agents scrambled for weapons. Through the chaos, I saw Marcus's guards crumple to the ground. Gas! Someone shouted. Everyone out! But the doors wouldn't open. Mom? I called through the thickening air. Kyson? Here! They grabbed my arms, pulling me toward the emergency exit. Marcus's laughter echoed through the room. Did you think I didn't have a contingency plan? That they'd let me rot in prison? Armed figures in gas masks burst through the vents. Gunfire erupted. This way! Danielle shoved us behind a filing cabinet, pulling out spare masks from an emergency kit. Put these on! Through the mask's foggy visor, I watched the intruders grab hard drives and weapons from the evidence lockers. They're destroying the evidence, Mom said, her voice muffled. Everything we fought for? Not everything. Kyson pulled out his phone, which was still recording. Live streaming to every news outlet in the country. Say hi to America, Marcus. The masked figures turned toward us. Marcus's voice rang out. Kill them! Danielle returned fire as we ran for the ventilation shaft. Bullets pinged off metal around us. Up, she commanded, giving me a boost. The shaft leads to the parking garage. I crawled through the tight space, hearing Mom and Kyson behind me. The sound of gunfire grew distant. Danielle! I called back. Keep going, she shouted. I'll hold them. Her words cut off in a burst of gunfire. No! Mom tried to turn back, but Kyson pushed her forward. She gave us a chance. Don't waste it. We emerged in the parking garage, alarms blaring throughout the building. My car was just 20 feet away. Georgia, catch! I turned to see Danielle, wounded but alive, toss something from the vent. A flash drive. Insurance policy, she yelled. Now run! We sprinted for the car as more masked figures appeared. I fumbled with the keys as bullets shattered windows around us. Drive! Mom and Kyson dove in as I started the engine. We crashed through the parking gate, tires squealing. In the rearview mirror, I saw the FBI building burning. The drive! Mom gasped. What's on it? Kyson plugged it into his phone. His eyes widened. Names, dates, every corrupt official involved in Project Lighthouse and beyond, including the FBI director, I finished. That's why she retired suddenly. She knew this was coming. Marcus was just a middleman, Mom said. The real power players are still out there. Not for long. Kyson's thumbs flew over his phone. Uploading everything to social media now. Let's see them try to bury this. My phone buzzed with an incoming call. Marissa. Turn on the news, she shouted. It's everywhere. The FBI raid, the shootout, everything. They can't cover it up this time. Mom touched Dad's locket, which still hung around her neck. He'd be proud of us. It's not over, I said, taking the highway ramp. They'll come after us again. Let them, Kyson replied, showing us his phone screen filled with viral news alerts. The whole world is watching now. Red and blue lights appeared behind us, but this time we couldn't tell if they were friend or foe. Where to? I asked, gripping the steering wheel. Mom's voice was steel. Somewhere we can finish what your father started, once and for all. The city lights faded behind us as we drove into the darkness, carrying truth like a torch and justice like a sword. The real war was just beginning. The morning sun painted the courthouse steps golden as we watched the FBI director being led away in handcuffs. News cameras flashed like lightning, capturing the moment justice finally won. That's the last one, Danielle said, her arm still in a sling from the evidence room shootout. Every name on that drive, every person involved in Project Lighthouse, all facing charges. My phone buzzed with another news alert. Breaking, international weapons ring. Dismantled, high-level officials implicated. They're calling it the biggest corruption scandal in history, Kyson said, scrolling through updates. Dad's name is everywhere. They're hailing him as the whistleblower who started it all. Mom squeezed my hand. He gave his life to expose this. We finished what he started. Ms. Simmons, reporters called out, how does it feel knowing your husband's murder has finally been solved? Before Mom could answer, more police cars screamed up to the courthouse. Marcus, in orange prison clothes, emerged in chains. Still think you've won? He shouted across the plaza. There will always be more of us. Always be more secrets. You're right, I called back, making him stop. There probably are more secrets, more corruption, more people like you. Then you understand. You can't win. No, Mom stepped forward. We already have, because now everyone knows the truth is out there. Everyone knows there are people willing to fight for it. And next time, Kyson added, we'll be ready. Marcus's face contorted as officers led him away. His empire had crumbled, his powerful friends were falling one by one, and the lighthouse that had hidden his secrets now stood as a monument to truth. Danielle's phone chirped. The task force is ready, she said. You sure about this? I looked at Mom and Kyson. They nodded. We're sure. Inside the courthouse, we found Marissa waiting with a stack of papers. Everything's set, she said. The whistleblower protection program, the new identities, just say the word. No, I replied. We're not hiding. But they still have allies out there, she protested. People who might want revenge. Let them come, Mom said, taking off Dad's locket. We're done living in shadows. She walked to the clerk's desk and placed the locket in an evidence bag. This belongs in the case file. Let everyone see what my husband died protecting. Besides, Kyson grinned, someone has to stick around to keep fighting. Dad taught us that. Danielle handed us each an FBI consultant badge. Then let's make it official. The task force needs people who know what to look for, people who've seen the corruption firsthand. You want us to help investigate other potential projects? I asked. Who better? You three did what an entire federal agency couldn't. Imagine what you could do with actual resources. Mom traced Dad's name on the courthouse wall of honor, newly installed that morning. What do you think, honey? Ready to be a family of investigators? As long as we're together, I said. That's what got us through this. Speaking of together, Kyson pulled out his phone. The support group for families affected by corruption is meeting tonight. They asked if we'd share our story. Our story, Mom repeated softly. Not just about corruption and revenge, but about healing, about finding strength in each other. The courthouse doors opened. Outside, the media waited for statements, for answers, for hope that justice was still possible in a world of shadows. Ready? I asked my family. Ready, they answered. We stepped into the sunlight together, not as victims or vigilantes, but as survivors, as proof that truth could outshine any darkness. My car, the same one that started this whole journey, sat waiting in the parking lot, no longer a symbol of betrayal, but of perseverance. Where to first? Kyson asked as we got in. There's a suspicious banking pattern in Seattle, Danielle said from the back seat. Might be nothing, might be another project. Or, Mom smiled, it might be another chance to make Dad proud. I started the engine, remembering that first morning when I found my car missing. How lost and angry I'd felt. How alone. Never again. Seattle it is, I said, pulling onto the street. But first, breakfast. I'm thinking pancakes. Pancakes? Kyson laughed. We're about to investigate potential international corruption and you want pancakes? Hey, even justice fighters need fuel. Mom's hand found my shoulder. Pancakes sound perfect, honey. Your father always said the best plans start with a good breakfast. As we drove toward our favorite diner, I caught sight of the lighthouse in my rearview mirror. It no longer looked ominous. Just a tower of white stone, its secrets exposed to the light. Some people say revenge is a dish best served cold, but they're wrong. The best revenge is served with family, with purpose, and yes, with pancakes. Because in the end, it's not about getting even, it's about getting better, together.